Okay, this is a quick little video on what to do when your Haas vf2ss mill gets jammed up with chips in the coolant system and does not spray like it's supposed to and cool their parts like it's supposed to. If your boss is like my boss and he thinks maintenance is a joke and it's a waste of money and leaves you on your own to maintain the machine, then here's what I found when this chips got lodged in the coolant system. First of all, this chip pan here you've probably dumped several times. You clean it, you're probably pretty familiar with that. What happens is underneath that chip pan, the stuff that gets through, once it builds up to about 2 inches in the bottom of the coolant tank, it starts getting drawn into this chamber, this pre-chamber, and then right into the motor where it goes straight through the lines and proceeds to clog the coolant nozzle and everything else, including those 3 coolant nozzles, the accessory coolant if you got it, and that guy down there for the bed spray, which is very important to have. First of all, what I did, I pumped out the tank, cleared all the screen. This was a few days ago, but I cleared the screen off, vacuumed out all the chips out of both chambers, lifted up the motor, lifts right out, clean out underneath it, replace it, drop it back down, undo this fitting here, this fitting here for the nozzle. This was jammed with chips, hose was jammed with chips, nozzle was jammed with chips. Air it all out, blow it out, and these 3 nozzles, which are plastic, just get a crescent wrench and turn them out, all 3 of them. And they just screw out. They'll be packed full of chips. Blow them out, leave them off. This, the accessory coolant, there's a small spring inside of here. I'm not sure what it's for. It just rests inside of there. That'll be full of chips. Take it off, leave it out. Down here, this guy, kind of tricky. There's 3 set screws, triangle formation. You take all 3 of them out, the top plate will come off. There's a 1/2 inch, approximately a black plastic spacer behind that with a hole in the middle. And then behind that there's another plate which the coolant hose connects to the back of that plate. The coolant hose comes into the machining chamber and then it screws onto the back of that plate. And that plate keeps it from getting pulled back into the casting. Take all that off. I had to use a 2-foot long air hose nozzle and put it down that the coolant line and keep cycling the air and the water, and it takes a while. It took me a good hour to get all the chips out of that line and to get it flowing again. These things, make sure you run the coolant well. All these fittings are off and it'll blow chips for a couple minutes. Let it blow whatever's out in the system, get it out, but don't replace them right away because you'll end up taking them off again and again. So leave them off and run that coolant with once you get all your fresh coolant back in there and all the chips out of the tank, let it cycle for a while before you replace all that stuff. Because if you don't, you'll end up doing it again. And same with back here. Once you get all this stuff clear, take an air hose nozzle and blow that line out. Reconnect this fitting here. The nozzle, that'll be good to go. It's important to be able to clean the machine down properly, even though this is very dirty. And once you get up and running again, you'll have good coolant flow. And you'll notice when you've got chips in the lines, these will peter out. The coolant in these nozzles here will start petering out. This nozzle will peter out. The bed spray will peter out. The coolant back there, the manual coolant will peter out. It's important to get all those chips out, get it back up and running. Clean that chip tank once every 6 months, at least, depending on your use. What I now use is this. One of these scoops with the holes drilled in the bottom. Instead of draining the tank and getting the vacuum and making a mess of things, reach down, scoop the chips out, dump them, drain off the water, Same here. Get in there the best you can and stop it before it even gets to be a problem, because once you get 2 inches or so of chips on the bottom of that tank, you're gonna have problems. Another thing I learned, this coolant indicator, don't let it go below halfway. But once I let it get below half, and that's where I started having problems. Normally I keep it up like where it's at now. If it goes down to about 1/3 on this marker, it'll start to blink red, and you'll know that you've gone way too far. Keep it full. That just makes sense. Save your pump. We've replaced pumps on several machines. Save $1,000 and keep your coolant full. Keep your bed sprayer spraying. It's important. You hate to replace waves. We've done it several times, and each time the price goes up about $700, regardless of the brand of machine. And I'm sure this is the same deal. So keep those lines clear. Flush them clean. Blow them clean. Nothing's too hard to just disassemble. Clean out the lines. Put them back on, and be off to the races again.